Senator Hanson for the second time.
Thank you. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Climate Change and Energy, Senator Wong. Would the Minister please explain to the Australian people and what net zero emissions actually means in layman's terms?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister.
I'm not sure how to explain it other than to say it means net zero. I mean, I think, and I understand that the senator. It's one of those situations. I'll think through if I can provide an explanation to make it clearer than that. But to me, the words net zero are quite clear. I think we all understand what net emissions means. I am reminded of a time when I was Climate Minister, and I think Senator Fielding wanted an explanation, and I got in the Chief Scientist to try and take him through it, and we did get to a point where I thought, I don't actually know, and neither did she at that time, how to break it down any further, but I will have a think about that. I think it's a commonly understood objective, and it's an objective that, as the Senator knows, that is shared by those opposite, I thought. Maybe not. Well, obviously not Senator Canavan, I know that, but the coalition, I thought broadly, had agreed to net zero emissions by 2050. And your policy. Well, maybe Senator Canavan is indicating a change in policy under the coalition, under Mr Dutton. Obviously, I think it's 84%, I could be wrong. Australia's exporters have export markets have already signed up to the same target. It was discussed at the G20, so there's broad global agreement about the need to...
Minister, please resume your seat. Senator Canavan.
Thank you, Madam President. Just on relevance there, the question was clearly about the definition of a term. It's a very simple question, and now we're talking about what other countries are doing and signing up to. It's totally it's got nothing to do with the original question.
Minister, did you wish to continue? Senator Wong, have you finished your first question, the answer? Senator Hanson, first supplementary.
Well, actually, I'm gobsmacked from the first answer. I don't know whether I should actually ask the second one. Now you got me. Now, all right. Well, then, how much will the government policy to reduce emissions by 43%, which you don't know what net zero is anyway, by 2030? I would really like to know how much it's going to cost the government by 2050, but I doubt I'm going to get an answer on the first one. But if you can answer my question, how much is it going to cost the Australian taxpayers for this reduce emissions by 43%?
Please resume your seat, Minister.
Well, thank you, President. Thank you to Senator Hanson for the question. And she may be aware that the Labor Party in opposition did model this 43% reduction by 2030 policy and issued the modelling transparently. And that modelling showed that the plan, which includes a 43% reduction, would in fact create 604,000 jobs, with 5 out of 6 new jobs to be created in the region. That it would spur $76 billion of investment, and it would deliver an 82% renewable energy by 2030. So I think what we have seen is power generating capacity exiting the energy generation system over the life of the government of those opposite. And that reduction in supply without new capacity coming on stream is central to why power prices
Thank you, Minister.
are doing
Your
what they are
time
doing.
has expired. Senator Hanson, second supplementary.
How is the government's plan to bring more than 1 million immigrants to Australia in the next 5 years consistent with efforts to reduce emissions?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister.
I think, well, first, I'm not sure about the figure, but we have, as a result of the Jobs and Skills Summit, indicated 195,000 places, and that is as a consequence of the capacity constraints in the economy and the skills crisis that we know from talking to business, and if you look at the data, exists. But the focus will be on permanent skill migration, and that will add to the capacity of the Australian economy. It's important to recall that one of the things that we all have to do, and Australia will have to do, is to ensure that the link between GDP and populations and emissions that they are delinked, and that we can continue to grow our economy in ways that don't continue to produce as many emissions. And the way we do that is by these sorts of investments in renewable energy that our plan will deliver.
Thank you, Minister. Your time has expired.
I'm gobsmacked. Not my words. That's exactly what Senator Pauline Hanson said. And honestly, after watching this exchange, a lot of people are thinking the same thing. Because this wasn't just a debate, this was a simple question that turned into complete confusion. Pauline Hanson asked a very basic thing: explain net zero in simple terms. That's it. No trick, no trap, just a definition. And what happened next? The minister couldn't explain it. Not clearly, not simply, not even confidently. Instead, we got hesitation, rambling, and then something even more surprising, an admission that even experts in the past struggled to break it down. Let that sink in. A policy that affects millions of people. A target that will shape economies, jobs, energy, and taxes. And yet, when asked to explain it in plain English, there was no clear answer. And that's where everything changed. Because Pauline Hanson didn't just stop there. She doubled down. How much is this going to cost taxpayers? Again, simple question. And again, no direct answer. Instead of costs, we heard about jobs, investment, renewable targets. But not the one thing people actually care about. How much will it cost you? And this is where the disconnect becomes impossible to ignore. If a policy is so important, if it's being pushed at a national and global level, then why is it so hard to explain? Why is it so hard to put a number on it? Because here's the reality. You can't ask people to support something they don't understand. You can't expect trust when there's no clarity. And you definitely can't sell a policy based on benefits while avoiding the cost. That's why this moment hits so hard. Not because of shouting, not because of drama, but because of confusion. Real, visible confusion at the highest level. And when leaders can't explain their own policies, people start asking bigger questions. Is this about climate? Or is this about control of the narrative? Is this about results? Or just targets on paper? One simple question exposed a much bigger problem. No clarity, no straight answers, no real accountability. And that's why this clip is blowing up. Now I want to hear from you. Can you clearly explain net zero in simple terms? Or do you think politicians are pushing policies people don't fully understand? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. And this is where things get even more interesting, because the moment the discussion shifted to immigration, the questions got even bigger. On one hand, there's a push to reduce emissions, and on the other, plans to increase population. So how do those two things actually work together? More people, more transport, more energy use. So how exactly do emissions go down? Once again, there was no direct answer. Just broad statements. The economy will grow, skills will increase, the system will improve. But here's the problem. Again, where is the clear explanation? Where is the straight logic? People aren't asking for complicated answers. They just want something that makes sense. Because if a policy is realistic, it should be easy to explain. And if it's not being explained clearly, doubt starts to grow. And that doubt matters. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about net zero, it's about transparency.